learn and then argue your side for you.
Well, people just like to pick and choose what they want to read and what they want to see, and they want to run with it.
It's true.
Andre, what's up, brother? This is Dave Duenas and Gabriel Montoya on Leaving the Ring Radio, man.
Hey, Dave, how you doing, man?
Doing good, brother. Doing good. So, God, what a day, huh? So let's get into this here. Lamont Peterson, the Ring TV through Len Summerfield threw out an article. The headline itself was, "Your fighter was busted again." Break it down to us of what happened, and then obviously we'll roll in our questions.
It's really a sad event because it's a reporter that I had a level of respect for that I've known for years. It's my days of working with Mark Johnson back in the 90s. I've known them. And, there are just common areas that, as a reporter, as a publicist, I was a reporter for 7 years. I have a journalism degree from American University. I worked at the Washington Post. So I know that when you're doing a story, the most important thing is to verify the information that you're going to write about, especially if it has an enormous impact. You know what I'm saying? It's so important to do your fact checking and to make sure that you, above all people, feel comfortable with the information that you write about. And if you don't have substantial evidence to prove what you're writing about, you don't write about it. You just don't, regardless of what the consequences may be. You just don't do it.
Have they taken the time to even give you a ring? After that article was posted, have they taken the time to give you guys a ring and give you over a phone apology, or just that late?
I was told that they were going to write a retraction. I was told by Lim. Lim apologized to me, and I said, "Lim, don't apologize to me. Write the story." And he said, "Andre, I'm going to write the story." And I haven't heard from Lim. That was 6 hours ago, and I haven't heard from him since then.
I saw the apology that they have up on Ring TV, and I got to be honest. If I'm you guys, I'd be a little disappointed because it's not by Lem, it's by Ring TV, and the headline doesn't appear to be as big as the headline was this morning when I saw it, and started tweeting about it, and watched it change, and then started tweeting more, and then watched it disappear. I put out the right information. I took my time. I think this is a case of trying to be first instead of being correct. And with a guy with experience in this field, particularly with your guy, you wait till the last minute. I knew pretty early on about that, but I waited to the B sample. You wait.
Gabe, and Gabriel, I'll say this: I've had more conversations with you than with most people. And you and I have had marathon conversations on the phone. And you know me. I think you've got an understanding for who I am at this point.
Without question.
And you know that I would never go after anybody unless I know that they're wrong. And with respect to this, I really feel that Lem was wrong. And I can't put it into words what I feel right now after, all the dust has settled and everything has happened. I just can't believe it. I can't believe it. I can't accept it. I don't understand it. But at the end of the day, I can say one thing, is that Lamont Peterson didn't test positive for anything and tested negative. But as hard as the fight that we've had to endure, it's back in our face all over again.
Right.
And not due to us, but due to an overzealous reporter.
And can you clarify something for us? There was, early on, Holtz people were complaining that the results hadn't been released. as I understand it, it was up to Lamont to release his, like, to sign off on his medicals. Is that correct? And that was what was waiting. Can you just clarify that for me?
Well, Gabe, that's what they claimed. I mean, they put the onus on us and saying that we were the ones that were holding up the process. At the end of the day, when we found that out, I mean, Lamont immediately agreed to release his results. Like, okay, fine. Because we had been informed that Lamont had tested negative for everything. So, I mean, Lamont has been on the record in every opportunity that he's had to have an interview to say that I'm for drug testing.
Right.
And I talked to Lamont 15 minutes ago, and nothing has changed. Even with all this today, you know, he's still upbeat. He's like, you know, Dre said, you know, I mean, he's held together better than we are, and we're part of his team. But we feel the pain more than he does, and because he's a different individual, and he's just like, you know, he said, Dre, I'm not, you know, this is what it is. It is what it is, and you know, as much as it hurts me, and I tell him that this is not right, he's like, you know, I'm fine. You know, I know at the end of the day, when all is said and done, that I may be the guy that made a difference in this sport, that made people realize that drug testing is important. And if that's what it takes, then I'm fine with that.
I can understand that. That's, you know, I mean, it's very strange watching this drama unfold over 3 years. Not just, you know, your guys' role in it, but that all the players kind of have interesting roles, and they don't always, you know, Berto. It's weird. At the end of 2012, I wrote he's going to be the face of he's going to undergo VADA testing and arguably become the face of drug testing, and he kind of did, but not the way that I thought he was going to. Peterson the same way, you know, but he's persevering through it, and he's consistent in that he wants to do VADA testing. He said that the last time he was on the show.
Well, I'm telling you this, that Lamont is ready to do VADA testing for the next fight, and he's ready to meet it head on. Even with what's transpired today, we're still ready to go forward with it.
Wow.
For the are you guys going to insist on VADA? Because I know Golden Boy has a favorite in USADA, but is that going to be his wish?
Well, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, I mean, I think what's going to happen is there's going to be some level of compromise between the two parties, but there will be Olympic-style drug testing done. And that I can assure you.
Have you guys given thought at all, you know, and this is something that's just occurred to me when you were talking about him wanting to do VADA testing, is this, and with the scare of the day, I mean, it's basically his name got re-raked through the coals. It was like, you know, all the work that you guys had done and the fight, like, through bad reporting, like, that's just not right. But have you thought about the 365 24/7 program as a way to just say, look, leave me, you know, my name's Paul. This is between y'all that aren't testing, you know, and just get in there. What do you guys think? I mean, that's a new idea that I haven't really hit you with, but and it's probably, you know, to negotiate on the radio is not exactly the most ideal place. I understand that, but is it something you would think of?
Gabriel, at this point, I mean, like I said, we're open to transparency, and if that will create a level of transparency, then it's something that we would definitely be open to consider. At this point, you know, stuff like things like, I mean, occurrences that happen today, it really creates an atmosphere where you have to question the integrity of the whole process. But even with that being said, you know, Lamont realizes that he has a chance to make a difference in the sport and make it clean and set a precedent. And I've been in this business for 25 years. I've represented NBA players, NFL players, Olympians. I mean, and I've never met anybody like him that's willing to put everything that they've worked for on the line to set a precedent. And you know, when I work with a guy like that, I mean, only thing I can do is give my all to accomplish what he wants to do.
Let me ask you this, because I'm curious about this. You know, I know we're coming down hard on Lim, but it seemed to me, even with Kendall Holt's tweets, is there was a mass confusion here. With the email that was sent, and that's what he was claiming was, Lim's claim was an email sent to him by a source. Have you guys got a tag on that email? I mean, have you been able to review that email to see exactly what was said?
We don't have any. I don't have any comment on that because I haven't seen anything like that. Only thing I can comment on is the story that went out. So I don't know anything about email.
And you guys have given me a statement too, as far as I haven't read it on the air, but it'll go out at probably like about 8:00 tonight on Max. Okay. We talked about I think, Dave, some of the confusion, and we were talking about this earlier, might be with the even just the use of the word positive. Nobody tested positive. There's an atypical finding.
Let me clarify that. I mean, there was an atypical finding.
Atypical finding, yes.
Right, which was different from negative. But in terms of the IBF, which somebody you probably want to talk to, they consider it as being a positive. Right. Anything
I did talk to
other than negative is a positive to them. And that's what occurred.
We did, you know what, just to clear that, we did talk to them, and they really just kind of kept it very cordial. They didn't really want to answer a whole lot, and I think they were more in shock of what was going on, so they weren't prepared when we had talked to them a bit earlier, which is rightfully so, you know what I mean?
I imagine a statement's going to be coming, or forthcoming from the IBF.
Right. I do believe so. I can concur with that. I do think they are going to put a statement out probably tomorrow, Friday.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it needs to be addressed, and it's. I mean, well, like, you know, the past. I still have a lot of opinions about that whole situation, but I still think that we learned. I don't know if everybody else learned. Mickey Bay didn't quite learn from Lamont's original example, which is to know what's going in your body, make sure. Check it with an organization before you put it in, because Mickey went to an anti-aging clinic, you know, and had his difficulties. But I think when you were talking about setting up,
you know, I'm not going to get involved in that kind of conversation. Right? Yeah,
it's too much, but to really cover, like I didn't bring you on to rake over that. But what I gather from what you were saying about him setting a precedent. Is this? Do you more mean that, you know, he tested positive and he had to go through all that, and now he's coming back for more, and we haven't really seen a guy do that? Is that kind of what you're talking about, or just a guy that's just taking a stand for the clean sport?
What I'm saying is, he took a stand to clean the sport, that he realized this young man has been fighting competitively since he was 9 years old. He was a national champion. He fought on the USA team. He didn't make the Olympics, but he's been in boxing that long, and he's seen a lot. And from his own eyes and his perspective, he's realized that there's some problems, there's some issues when it comes to drug testing. And no slight against Amir Khan, but when he got into a position to demand what happens, he was like, well, this is what I want. Because if I do it, maybe others will follow. And even with the findings, he was like, you know what? It happened, but I'm still going to do it every fight I have. And nothing has changed. Nothing has changed.
Well, it's good to know that Matisse, and he'll be joining the anti-doping movement too, inadvertently, in this fight.
Yes, I can contest to that he will.
Can you talk about a little bit just how Golden Boy kind of reacted? This is a little bit awkward. I mean, they own the ring. I mean, have you guys been in contact with them? I mean, you guys put this a statement.
They're separate entities. Richard Schaefer will be putting on a statement probably tonight or first thing tomorrow. And you got to understand, Golden Boy is one entity. The Ring Magazine is another entity. And I think when you see the comments from Richard Schaefer, you'll realize how separate they are.
No, I think I read the statement earlier tonight.
Right.
What was interesting was that he just didn't name anyone. It was like a shot at the media, their lack of fact checking, as opposed to specifics. I don't know. For me, like, I was recently wronged in the media, and
Right.
my apology that he was very vague. I'm still pretty mad about it. I was just kind of think specifics, but you're the offended party, so I'll let you to read. I'll let you to read those things. Obviously, you haven't had a chance to read the statements yet. Let's talk about something positive so that we can end on a good note.
Okay.
Let's talk about the fight.
I'm always with that.
Let's talk about the fight. From the camp perspective, you guys think? I mean, after a year, he comes at. He looked really good in his last fight, but Matisse. I mean, just talk about how you feel about the matchup and where do you think how it's going to go down.
I'll just say this to you, Lamont. When we talked about the Kendall Holt fight, we're like, well, how do you feel about it? He was like, I'm ready. It was like, you guys do what you do, and I guarantee you, I'm gonna give you a spectacular finish. Lamont predicted that he would knock Kendall Holt out in the 8th round, between 6 and 8. And I'm saying this now, and honestly, I want you to understand that this is something that he said to us in confidence, but he knew it. We took this fight under promotion with Gary Shaw Promotions, but we were the local promoters, so we did all the work. And he watched us work tirelessly, with very little manpower, trying to create a production that would rival Golden Boy or Top Rank. And knowing that, we had many sleepless nights, but we did what we needed to do. And that instilled him to do what he needed to do. And after the fight, he said, I told you guys. I saw how hard you were working. I saw, and one night in particular, like 2 nights before the fight, he was getting up. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning, and we all were on the same floor in the hotel. And I was walking back to my room, and he was getting up. And he was like, Dre, he said, you just got up? I said, no, I haven't gone to sleep yet. And he said, that kind of motivation, to see that people are working that hard for me, knowing that I know what I need to do.
You think that you think that with the Matisse's fight, and even with this breaking news that his spirit's not broken because this is a fight that it can get him back on top here. Do you think that has a lot to do with it?
This is a young man that has so many roadblocks thrown in front of him his entire life.
Yeah,
there's nothing new, and he's preparing himself. He fought Kendall Holt on Friday night. Monday night, he was back in the gym following that Friday night fight. That's how dedicated he is to whoever he fights. He knows the next fight is that important. And he's been in the gym ever since.
Wow.
He fought like a man a bit possessed in that last fight.
Yeah, he did.
He really did. He had to have it that night. You could just see it. I love being able to see a fighter's hunger. And Lamont, to me, is a guy that, like, he's been in big fights, and I always thought he was a little ho-hum at times, like one gear. And it seems like he's found...
He's found his comfort zone.
There's an anger.
He did. Yeah.
He really found his comfort zone, and he'd be the first person to admit that against Tim Bradley, it was new to him. It was new to him. The first time he had been on that stage, and he wasn't himself. But from that point on, he said, I got it. He said, Drown, I'm there. I understand it now. And ever since then, he hasn't missed a beat.
He's finally peaked. He has finally peaked. Yep. I agree, man.
It's cool to watch, and it's a trip to see this whole kind of journey, and I just felt bad today. It was just like, man, we got to get it right, and particularly with this sensitive issue. Whenever there's a negative thing, not just for him, but thinking at the big picture, people are getting like PED testing, tired, fatigue, and then they see this and it's just like, oh man, if they can't even get it right, just throw the whole thing out. It just made me wince on like every level. I felt bad for Lem, who I think is a very good man. I felt bad for everybody.
I do. I mean, there are no winners here.
No.
And let me be very clear with that. I mean, I've had a relationship with Lem Satterfield for more than 20 years. I respect him tremendously. But there's certain things, I mean, Gabe, you're a reporter. I mean, you understand. I mean, I was a reporter for 7 years for the Washington Post. I went to one of the best journalism schools in the country. I graduated from American University. And there's certain things that you learn early on that you confirm whatever information you get before you write about it. There's no question. It must be confirmed. If not, you cannot write about it. And that's just it.
That's it. That's just the deal. And it's a bummer. And I think we bend the rules a little bit because it's the internet. And it's just not, you can't do it.
Yeah, it's not cool.
No. Those rules still exist. Those rules still exist today. And I graduated from college in 1989, and those same journalistic principles still exist today. Hold on a second.
And it definitely made him, get into gear too, for trying to get things cleared up as well. I mean, what a way to wake up.
I think we lost him.
I said, hold on for a second.
Oh. It's just that's the thing. I don't know if people are going to say we're going easy on the past drug thing, but we've gone over it over and over, and we have covered it on here.
Really covered it.
I'm so sorry, guys. I'm so sorry, but that was Lamont. Okay, so I had to take that call. That was Lamont Barry.
No problem.
No problem. But we had actually talked about it. That was what was interesting to me about the whole thing was. We texted last night. I was booking Lamont, and he said, how about next week? I'm like, that's great.
Yeah.
And so that was what was so surprising. One, that I was up that early in the morning, but two, when I saw the story, I was like, man, I don't understand. And you responded to me.
Okay, for your listeners, I want them to understand that, I talked to Gabe on average, probably once a week,
Yeah.
And he's somebody that I respect tremendously. So we talked last night via text, and that's why when you text me, of course I'm going to respond directly. I don't hide from anything.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's the relationship that we've created. But this, and I explained to you, I said, let the facts come out.
Mm-hmm.
As upset as I am, I cannot say anything right now, but I promise you that it's not what it appears to be.
Right.
And if you give me a couple of hours, everything will come to light. And it did.
Yeah.
It definitely did. Yep.
Yeah, it was, to me, that's what, I wasn't, I bring up that we talked last night and booked the thing, not to say like, oh, you were hiding something from me and I got all mad. It's what threw me. It's because your behavior was just normal. We were just normal, and then all of a sudden this thing exploded. It's just so strange, But I'm glad everything got cleared up, and I'm glad that I was able to chase it down,
And Gabe, if you knew that things were what they appeared to be, I would be the first to admit that, we have some issues that we have to deal with. But I never said that to you. I said, give me some time, and I'm going to sort this out, because it's not what it appears to be. And I appreciate you for giving me the opportunity and not jumping on the bandwagon like some other reporters did and started tweeting out this information as if this kid had done something wrong.
Right.
And I respect you for that.
I appreciate that, man. It's people. You know, I kind of learned a little lesson with Mickey Bay, and I talked a little bit about the case before I'd actually fully interviewed him. I talked about like his legal team and stuff like that, and then I sat down with him, and it kind of just put me back in check. So it was actually a good thing that it happened, because when this happened, I didn't tweet jokes. I was just like, all right, let's find out what's up, you know?
Right, and I appreciate that.
Thank you, man.
And you definitely kept your cool, Andre, because when you were talking to Gabriel, I called you and you were clicking over. I mean, you were smooth at it, you know? You're like, Dave, this is the story.
No, because, I mean, you know, it's funny. I talked to Gabe last night, and Gabe said I'm approaching my 40th birthday, and I congratulated him. And I said I'm a little ways from there, but I remember that.
Hey, look, listen, that's an investigation that we have to dig on there too, because he's turning 50 years old. He's not 40. He's lying.
well, you know, living in LA gives you 10 years left.
Right.
That is true. It is statistically true.
Yeah.
We get dumber every year too.
No, that's the thing to think about too. But no. Honestly, it was a strange coincidence, because we had talked last night via text, and you know, we sent, you know, quite a few texts back and forth, and I said, next week let's make it happen, and that's how I ended it. And this is the last thing I thought would have occurred, you know, today. But
right.
I mean, one thing this has created. It's created us with an ability to respond to things like this and be ready. I mean, 14 months of inactivity and the lost revenue that Lamont would have made, it created, it made us all look at ourselves and try to figure out, what is it that we didn't do right? What could we have done to prevent this from happening? And so you really get an understanding of what it takes to operate in a crisis situation. And the day was one of those situations. And that's why, you know, maybe I seemed a little relaxed, but, you know, it kind of goes with my everyday preparation now, and understanding that we may have to respond to things like this along the way. And as long as you have the truth on your side, you don't have to worry about anything.
Well, there you go.
That's very true.
Yep. Andre Johnson here with us on Leaving the Ring. Andre, man, again, bro, thanks for taking the time to talk to us. And, well, we'll catch up with you guys next week.
Absolutely. We'll be back on next week. I thank you guys so much.
All right, man.
Brother.
We'll catch up with you. Take care.
All right.
Enjoy your dinner.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Representative for Lamont Peterson, Andre Johnson. We had a